All right, we've all got them, old electronics stuffed away with the idea that someday, yes, someday, we're going to deal with them. But maybe you should actually think about recycling those electronics, those old electronics, instead of just hanging onto them.
Cliff Hacking with Recycle My Electronics joins us here on Earth Day. And Cliff, you've brought an entire classroom
Look at this
with you. We're going to get to that in a second. But first, let's talk about Recycling My Electronics, what it is all about.
Well, we've got over 3,100 locations across the country where you can recycle your electronics, and you do it for free. You go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, and you can bring back anything that is regulated in those provinces, and basically it's almost everything with a battery and a plug in most provinces. So bring it back. We make sure it's responsibly recycled, that your data is protected, that things get destroyed and turned back into materials that can be reused. And over 90% of what we get back can actually go back into the supply chain and be reused.
All right, tell us a bit more about this classroom that you've brought with you here today, which, speaking of reusable, this looks like it's a shipping container, right?
It is, Jeff. It's a shipping container that we've converted into a mobile classroom. This is something that we use when we go to classrooms for kids, when we do launches with respect to anything that's going on. So we were in New Brunswick recently and did a launch there as they added small appliances to their portfolio of what obligated products you can now collect there. And so it's really a great event, and it allows us to be able to tell the story. There's some educational tools here as well. I know earlier that one of your staff was quite impressed with turning the wheel and some of the answers that they were getting from what they needed to do.
Can I say, speaking of educational, I was impressed by this. Look at this. This is a throwback. This is the first computer I ever used, like in grade 5, the Commodore PET. I love this computer.
And it's still working.
Yeah.
Cliff, you mentioned about 90% can be recycled in our household items. Give us some more specifics of what can be recycled.
Sure. Well, obviously, computers and cell phones are real obvious ones that come back. But printers, in some provinces, drones, all the way through to things like cables. Like a lot of these days, cables are not being properly handled. And people look at them and they go, I can just toss that in the garbage. But the wires that inside those cables are good material. There's copper in there that can be recycled.
Right.
And so they're the kinds of things, chargers. People look at a charger and think, oh, well, what do I do with that? All of those can be put back into the supply chain as well. So we want all of that back. And so please take it to one of our locations.
All right, so Cliff, what happens after the electronics are donated?
Well, after they're donated, we get them back, and if it's non-data bearing devices, we see if there's a second life for them. So monitors, as an example, televisions in some cases, they can be reused, and our processors will look to see if there is a second life for those kinds of things, because we certainly support reuse before it comes back to us.
Sure.
And so if you hand it down in your family or whatever, but after that, we want you to then give it to us, and we take it to a processor, and it gets put through ultimately a shredder. And the shredder turns it into plastics, metal. There are sorters that go on to refine ferrous and non-ferrous metals, to take the copper and the gold, and in some cases even the non-ferrous metals out, and also the rare earth metals. Those are being captured as well at the smelter. So all of this goes to recycling and putting back into products that can be reused again.
How do you get rid of the products that, say, do contain personal information? We're also concerned about privacy. What do you do to ensure that the data is gone?
So for those things, we shred those. So if it's your cell phone, and you gave me your cell phone right now, I would make sure that it went back to the processor and went right into the shredder. We would take the battery out of it first, and after that, it goes into the shredder, and it's done. And so there's no way to recover any of that. It's just gone. Same with your computer.
Okay.
All right, just finally here on this Earth Day, this is such a great initiative. Remind people just how they can recycle their electronics, because you guys make it so easy.
Thank you. So all you need to do is go to our website or type in recyclemyelectronics.ca. It will show you, type in your postal code, it'll give you the closest location where you can go and drop things off. Best Buy and Staples are good partners of ours, and they're easy places to drop it off when you're buying your new stuff. So any of those work. Please bring your end-of-life material back to us.
There we go. Cliff, this is a perfect segment for Earth Day. Thank you for dropping by.
Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Jeff.
Okay.
This portion of the morning show is brought to you by Recycle My Electronics. Visit recyclemyelectronics.ca.